the quiet woods of Fox Chase, Philadelphia, a discovery was made that would haunt the city for decades. It was February 25th, 1957. A young college student, checking on his muskrat traps, stumbled upon a large cardboard box. Inside, wrapped in a plaid blanket, was the body of a small boy. This is the story of America's unknown child. The boy in the box. The scene was unsettling. The boy, estimated to be between 3 and 7 years old, was unclothed. His body showed signs of severe malnourishment and abuse. His blonde hair had been crudely cut, with clumps still clinging to his body. Investigators found several scars, including surgical ones on his ankle and groin, and an L-shaped scar under his chin. Despite the grim circumstances, there was no sign of a struggle at the scene. It seemed he had been placed there after his death. The Philadelphia Police Department launched one of the most extensive investigations in its history. The boy's fingerprints and footprints were taken. His face was photographed, and forensic artists created sketches to show what he might have looked like in life. Over 400,000 flyers bearing his image were distributed across the city and beyond. They were placed in every gas and electric bill, posted in police stations, and plastered on storefronts. The case was featured in newspapers and on television, reaching millions. Yet, despite this massive public effort, no one came forward to claim him. No one reported a child matching his description missing. It was as if he had never existed. The initial autopsy revealed the cause of death was blunt force trauma. He had been struck repeatedly in the head. The medical examiner also noted the boy was clean, with his fingernails neatly trimmed, suggesting he had been cared for in some way shortly before his death. The blanket he was wrapped in was a key clue. It was a common, inexpensive type, but investigators hoped it might lead them somewhere. The box itself was from a J.C. Penney store. It had originally contained a bassinet, the kind sold exclusively at that retailer. Detectives traced the box to a specific store in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, but with thousands sold, tracking the exact buyer proved impossible. For years, the investigation seemed to hit one dead end after another. The boy was temporarily buried in a potter's field, a common grave for the unclaimed and unknown. But the detectives who worked his case never gave up. They couldn't let him be forgotten. They raised money for a proper burial in Ivy Hill Cemetery, giving him a headstone that read, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." For decades, they would visit his grave, leaving flowers and vowing to one day give him back his name. Over the years, numerous theories emerged. One early lead pointed to a foster home located about 1.5 miles from where the box was found. A medical examiner's assistant, Remington Bristow, pursued this theory relentlessly for years. Even after his retirement, he believed the boy belonged to the stepdaughter of the man who ran the home. He speculated the boy's death was accidental and the family panicked, disposing of the body to avoid scrutiny. Bristow found a bassinet similar to the one from the box for sale at the estate, and blankets that matched the one the boy was wrapped in. However, despite his conviction, he could never find enough concrete evidence to prove his theory. Another compelling theory came from a woman known only as Martha or Emma. In 2002, she came forward claiming her abusive mother had purchased the boy from his birth parents in the summer of 1954. She described 2 years of horrific physical and emotional abuse inflicted upon the boy, whom she knew as Jonathan. According to her account, one evening, after the boy vomited his meal of baked beans, her mother flew into a rage and beat him to death against a wall. Her mother then cut his long hair to disguise him and, with Martha's help, drove his body to the Fox Chase area to dispose of it. Her story was incredibly detailed and seemed to match many of the known facts of the case. She knew about the crudely cut hair and the evidence of malnourishment. Police took her story seriously, viewing her as a credible witness. They investigated her claims, but her history of mental illness made it difficult to corroborate the specifics. While her account remains one of the most plausible explanations, it too has never been definitively proven. The identity of Jonathan and his biological parents remained a mystery. As time moved on, so did the investigators. The original detectives grew old and passed away, handing the heavy burden of the case to a new generation. In 1998, the boy's body was exhumed. Technology had advanced, and there was hope that DNA could finally break the case wide open. A sample was extracted from a tooth, and a DNA profile was created. This allowed investigators to confirm the boy was of Caucasian descent, but without a match in any database. it didn't lead them to his family. The case went cold again, but it was never closed. The rise of the internet and social media gave the case a new life. Online communities of amateur sleuths and genealogists became fascinated with the story. They pored over case files, shared theories, and cross-referenced public records, hoping to find a connection the police had missed. Groups like the Vidok Society, a club of retired forensic professionals, dedicated their expertise to cracking this and other cold cases. They re-examined every piece of evidence, every old lead, looking for a new angle. The real breakthrough came with the advent of genetic genealogy. This revolutionary technique uses consumer DNA databases like Ancestry DNA and 23andMe to find relatives of an unknown person by matching their DNA to distant cousins who have submitted their own DNA. By building out family trees from these genealogists can triangulate and eventually identify the unknown individual. It was a long shot, a painstaking process, but it was the last, best hope. In late 2022, after more than 65 years of silence, the unthinkable happened. The Philadelphia Police Department announced they had finally identified the boy in the box. Using the latest DNA technology and the tireless work of genetic genealogy, they had found his name. His name was Joseph Augustus. The news sent shockwaves around the world. Joseph was born on January 13, 1953. He was just 4 years old when he died. Through meticulous genealogical research, investigators were able to identify his birth mother. They then obtained a court order to get birth records for all children born to her during a specific time frame. And that's how they found Joseph. His father was also identified through the same process. We now know he has living half-siblings on both his mother's and father's sides. The mystery of his name was solved, but the mystery of his life and death remains. Who was responsible for the abuse he suffered? Why was his existence kept a secret? Why did no one ever report him missing? Police have not released the names of his parents, as the investigation into his murder is still active. The focus has now shifted from who is this boy to who did this to him. For over 6 decades, he was a symbol of the forgotten, a nameless face on a flyer. But now, he is Joseph, a boy who had a family, a birthday, and a name. His story is a powerful testament to the unwavering dedication of law enforcement and the incredible power of science, from the detectives who first found him in that cold, damp woods, to the modern-day forensic experts who pieced together his genetic puzzle. Thousands of people have worked to give him justice. The headstone at Ivy Hill Cemetery has been updated. It now reads Joseph Augustus Sorelli, with the inscription he had for so long: America's unknown child. Though we now know his name, the search for justice continues. The hope is that this breakthrough will finally lead to answers and bring closure to a story that has captivated and saddened a nation for generations. Joseph Augustus Sorelli is no longer unknown, and he will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching.